Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of the wedding accessories for the mini crocheted bear. In part 1 we made the bouquet of flowers. In this video we're going to make the veil. So we start off making the crocheted part first. So I'm just using a small amount of worsted weight yarn in cream. Then you need a piece of crinoline or lace, and I used a piece to make a veil like this size here. I used a piece about 14 inches long and about 6 inches wide. You can make them bigger. I made this bigger one here, this fuller one, and that piece is about 24 inches long, and that looks to be about 8 or 9 inches wide. So the size is up to you. Then you'll need some thread and a regular sewing needle. Your crochet hook, of course, I used a 4.25 millimeter hook. To make the little flowers I used a small amount of purple yarn. And then we also need a bobby pin for attaching, or you can sew it right to the top of the head. And then we need our blunt end needle for sewing the piece together. Starting with the crocheted piece on top of the veil, it's going to look like this. So that's what we're starting with first. Row 1 we're going to chain 14, so make your slip knot, yarn over and pull through 14 times. There's our chain of 14, and now starting in the third chain from the hook, this one right here, we're going to put a half double crochet in each one of those chains across. So yarn over and going into that third chain, half double crochet, and now a half double crochet in every chain after that. So remember, the one you just worked will have a bigger loop. Just got to my last chain, just going to show you how it looks. Put a half double crochet into that last chain. And now we can finish off. Leave a long tail that you can use for sewing. So let's weave in the starting yarn tail. Just bring it through. So I'm going to add 3 flowers to the center. So this is the top of the veil, and this is the part that goes on top of the head. Okay, so now we're going to fold this in half and find the center of that half, which is right here, and I'm going to add my first flower. So I'll pull my purple through. You can use any color you want, of course, and make my first French knot. Remember to go over it a little bit so it doesn't pull all the way through. It needs something to hang on to. So you don't want to go back in the same place you just pulled through. There's one, and now I'm going to put one on either side. I'm going to knot the 2 yarn tails off here in the back, and then cut them up a bit shorter. Okay, now we're just going to set this aside, and we're going to get our other piece ready, and then we can assemble the 2 pieces together. Alright guys, I'm using red so it's easier for you to see, and I've got a sewing needle with some thread waiting there for me. And I'm going to bunch this up. I want the top part of the veil to be half the width of this. So when I fold this like this, then the veil needs to fit inside there, the top of it. So we are going to start bunching it up. The sides I want bunched downwards. So fold on the inside, so we have a nice fold on the outside like that. Okay, and now I'm going to bunch it up. And again, the other side folding downwards, so I have nice looking sides to the veil. I'm going to use my thread to hold this in place, and of course the knot's going to pull through, so when you first come through, just pull it up to the knot, don't pull it through, and then go down again and wrap around a couple times so the thread will stay put. There we go. And I'll just sew across. There we go, sewing across, and I've knotted off. I've knotted the thread off. Now I'm going to sew it to the inside of this piece. I'll just sew it on the 1/2. So just popping in with an edit. Before you sew yours on, just check where the separations are, and you want those to be towards the back of the doll's head. You don't want those on top, and that's what I made a mistake in. The next clip I sewed it kind of upside down. So just make sure that you're happy with how it's going to look once it's sitting on top of the head. I'll sew it on the 1/2 just to hold it in place. Just takes a couple of stitches. Just going through. Okay, when you're done, just knot off. Then I'll just carry the thread tail inside and then cut free. Now I want to trim the top of this so it's not sticking out. Okay, now we can fold it over, and I'm going to sew the top of this piece closed. And I'm going to do this nice and neatly. So I'm going to go from one side to the other, not going over top, just going through the inside, like that. So you can see this is open here, so I'm just going to add a couple of stitches there to close that up. Okay, and now I'll just sew these ends closed and then knot off. I can hide the yarn tail inside, just carry it through and out anywhere. Okay, and like I said, I put the fold on the wrong side, so I just have to rearrange the top here a little bit. And if I wanted to use this one, then I would just add a little stitch on the side to keep that one fold over, so it rearranges nicely on the head. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my bobby pin to attach it. I'm just going to go right from the top to the bottom, just like that. And then it just goes on top of the head. And again, because I did sew it on the wrong side, I have to rearrange this here. But then you would just arrange it how you'd like to, and there we go. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Now that we have our bouquet made and our veil made, now you can go on to make the groom's outfit. And at the moment of this filming, I don't have it available on film, but the written pattern is there on my blog. And as soon as I do have it uploaded to YouTube, you'll see it popping up on your screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you super soon.